Welcome back to our What If series. Part 2 explores Deku's journey if he was trained by Kurama after being abandoned by his parents. Join us as we dive deeper into this alternate universe and witness the birth of a new hero. Izuku, or rather Kurama, was floating over 60 meters high. After destroying half of the robot, Izuku's arm was destroyed due to the power overload it experienced. Despite this, Kurama wasn't worried since he had 2 legs and 1 arm intact. Plus, he was about to switch places with Izuku, so it wasn't his concern anymore. Huh? Izuku exclaimed, returning to his body and surprised by not knowing where he was. Looking down and feeling no ground beneath him, Izuku realized he was in the air over 50 meters high. This almost made him faint, but then he focused on his destroyed arm and got angry. Kurama, what the heck? Why am I in the air with a broken arm? Izuku yelled, more than angry at his so-called friend. Hey, watch your language. And don't worry. Gravity doesn't affect you in the air, you just need to create a shadow clone to propel yourself. I had it all planned, thanks to me, by the way, Kurama said nonchalantly. Oh, great plan. If only I could make a shadow clone with just one hand, Izuku shouted, frustrated by the fox's incompetence. I didn't think of that, Kurama said, now worried. Izuku tried to swim in the air but only exhausted himself. After 2 minutes, both Kurama and Izuku panicked, not knowing what to do. After a while, Izuku came up with the idea of using all his chakra to propel himself towards a building. The plan was simple, overloading his legs could create enough pressure to shoot him towards the nearest building. He positioned himself to go straight ahead and asked Kurama to concentrate all his chakra in his legs. When everything was set, they prepared. Are you sure, kid? Kurama said, somewhat scared. Of course, Kurama, stop stalling and do it, Izuku said, somewhat worried. Okay. Don't blame me later, Kurama said, concentrating all his power in Izuku's legs. After the overload, Izuku didn't plan something. When he told Kurama to concentrate all his power on his leg, he meant all the power he could handle. So when he shot off, he went through the building he was supposed to reach and ended up in another one ahead. Kurama. I think. You overdid it, Izuku said, in pain against the wall of the building he crashed through. You told me to use all of it, Kurama said, annoyed by Izuku's ingratitude. I meant You know what, never mind. I think I've broken several ribs. Now do me a favor and regenerate me, Izuku demanded due to his condition. TCH. Fine, Kurama grumbled, feeling bossed around. After healing his wounds, except his bones, Izuku realized he couldn't walk. This was because his legs were internally shattered, so he had to peel himself off the wall with one arm. When he fell, it hurt a lot, but he started to crawl nonetheless. He lasted 2 minutes like that until he passed out. Meanwhile. Well, it seems there are some injured ones here, said a dwarf-like old woman standing in front of everyone who was shocked by the green-haired person going through an entire building. Who the heck is she? The audience exclaimed, surprised by the magical appearance of the old woman. She's UA's backbone, her heroic name is Recovery Girl. Thanks to her, UA can hold tests as dangerous as this, explained a guy who thought he was French but looked more like a crossdresser. That's right, young ones, now let me heal the wounded, please, said the woman, starting to kiss everyone who was injured, surprising and disgusting everyone. After helping the injured, Uraka descended the stairs of the building feeling nauseous. This surprised the old woman, but she hurried to help her. Uraka fainted in the old woman's arms, which worried her a bit, but she healed her immediately. When she finished, she was about to go to the other sector when a very loud voice was heard. Wait, said the glasses-wearing boy carrying an injured Izuku on his back. But what? What happened to the boy? The old woman exclaimed, incredibly worried about the boy. This guy risked himself to save that girl behind me and ended up like this, said the glasses-wearing boy, pointing at Uraka. Leave him here. I'll take him to the infirmary right away, said the woman, raising her voice. Yes, ma'am, said the boy, leaving Izuku on the ground. After that, the woman carried him on her back, surprising everyone. After Recovery Girl laid Izuku on the bed, she hurried to check his bones and saw something that surprised her. The bones were regenerating excessively fast, it was impossible for him to have a regeneration quirk. He could have a double quirk, but usually, this affects physical characteristics like dual hair color, and the boy had none of that. She pondered on what it could be until she saw a strange thing on his belly button. She observed it curiously and touched it delicately. When she did, a red cloak accumulated on her arm. Seeing that, she quickly removed it, Checked herself if anything was there but found nothing. But what the heck happened? Recovery girl said, frightened. I better get out of here. Recovery girl said, scared. The old woman arrived at the other section, which was section B. There were few people there, but one had a broken leg, and they were helping him get to the infirmary. Let me help you with that, recovery girl said, still somewhat scared but with a smile. When recovery girl kissed the boy's leg, she saw something that surprised her a lot. The wound healed in less than 2 seconds. Also, the boy was full of energy, which didn't make sense. All of this defied the laws of physics and logic, but she decided to give the boy a smile and went to the next sector. When recovery girl finished with the sectors in 20 minutes, Izuku had already woken up. Where am I? Izuku said, confused. Kid, you have to get out of here now, Kurama shouted, alarming Izuku. Kurama? What's going on? Izuku said, scared. The old lady WHO brought you took some of my power, Kurama said, alarming Izuku even more. What? Wait, why is that a problem? She doesn't know how to use chakra, so we're fine, Izuku said, trying to calm down. You don't understand, do you? Kurama scolded Izuku. Understand what? Izuku said, annoyed. I didn't explain. You see, chakra has been a pretty strong energy source. When it mixes with something, it amplifies its power. In this case, it would be the old lady's quirk, Kurama said, surprising and frightening Izuku a bit. It's most likely that the woman will tell someone about this, and you'll get arrested for supposedly using some kind of power-amplifying drug, so get out of here now and don't come back, Kurama said, causing Izuku to panic. Yes, we have to get out of here, Izuku said before being interrupted by the door. Someone was opening it. Izuku and Kurama thought the old lady had already called the police and feared the worst, but when they saw who it was, they were surprised. It was recovery girl. Hello, kid. I see you're feeling better, the old lady said with a smile. Why yeah, I think I feel well enough to leave, then, Izuku said, trying to evade the old lady. Why don't we sit down instead? Recovery girl said, alarming Izuku. Oh okay, Izuku said, then sat down on a chair. Would you like some tea? The old lady asked, trying to be kind. No, thank you, Izuku said politely. The two remained silent for about 2 minutes, which felt like an eternity. Kurama was tense inside Izuku's mind, so he didn't say anything. Everything was quiet until the old lady spoke. You know something? All my life, my power has been more of a support. I helped in hospitals for heroes and injured civilians. But still, I never felt like a hero because of my power. Since I was little, I wanted to be a heroine, but I never could. My power wasn't good enough. Recovery girl said, making Izuku serious. But today was different. My power evolved excessively, to the point that with this improvement, I could have been a heroine. So tell me, kid, recovery girl said, making Izuku start sweating, what's your power? Izuku didn't know what to say. Kurama was in the same situation, but both had something in mind. The most sensible thing was to tell the truth. If the woman found out it was a lie, it would be a big problem. Promise me you won't tell anyone, Izuku said, looking at the floor. Of course, dear, you have my word, the old lady said, smiling. Well, I don't have any quirk, Izuku said, surprising recovery girl. But that's not pos, recovery girl said, somewhat angry because she thought he was lying. Let me finish, Izuku said, raising his voice and making the woman tense. In essence, I don't have a quirk, but I do have a kind of power, Izuku said, surprising the old lady. It all started when Izuku began to tell his whole life story. There were parts where recovery girl tensed up and others where she felt sad for the boy. When Izuku finished, he looked at recovery girl somewhat embarrassed and waited for a response. The truth is, it's very difficult to process this, the old lady said, somewhat distrusting Izuku. But if what you're telling me is true, I think you could be a great hero, recovery girl said, smiling at Izuku. Ah, yeah, Izuku said, giving a big smile. After this awkward moment for Izuku, he and Kurama left UA. As they were on their way to their hideout, Kurama asked something that had been bothering him since the test began. Hey kid, how the hell are we going to see the results? I mean, we don't have an address, Kurama said, somewhat worried. I see you're worrying more than me, huh? Relax, I have it sorted out, Izuku said, smiling a little. How so? Kurama said, somewhat doubtful. You didn't fall asleep during the conversation with the old lady, did you? Izuku said, somewhat annoyed. I didn't fall asleep in the middle of everything, Kurama said, embarrassed. Oh my god. Well, I arranged with the old lady that she'll bring me the exam results, so don't worry, Izuku said, covering his eyes, frustrated by the fox. Oh, okay, I hope you pass, kid, Kurama said, encouraging Izuku. Yeah. Me too, Kurama, Izuku said, giving a small smile. After a few moments, Kurama and Izuku arrived at their sleeping place and, fittingly, fell asleep. You took everything from me, I swear I'll kill you, Izuku Midoriya. Kurama woke up alarmed, his face sweaty. After calming down, he covered his face as if frustrated with himself, then something that bothered him pulled him out of his trance. Kurama, Kurama. Izuku called out to his friend. Yeah. What's up, kid? Kurama said, somewhat disheartened. The results are here, Izuku said, getting Kurama's attention. Oh. Let me see them, Kurama said, appearing in his chibi form. But what is this? Recovery Girl exclaimed, who apparently had already arrived. Hi, Granny, Kurama said, somewhat scared. Izuku. Is this the so-called Kurama? Recovery Girl said, a little alarmed. That's right, Recovery Girl, he's my best friend, Kurama, Izuku said, surprising the two, but more so the fox. Well. I just came to leave the results. So, see you later, Recovery Girl said, then handed a letter to Izuku and left. Alright. Kurama, this is the moment of truth. Are you ready, buddy? Izuku said, prepared. Of course I am, Tiny, open that stupid thing, Kurama said, more than excited. When Izuku opened the letter, he saw a small circle on it. He thought it was a joke, so he threw it away. After that, a hologram appeared, showing a rat in a suit. But what? Izuku and Kurama said at the same time. Hello, Mr. Midoriya, I hope you've received this. I don't think it would have been so easy without a home, right? The rat said, surprising Izuku and Kurama. But how does he know? Izuku said, shocked. Surely that old lady told him, Kurama said, annoyed. Surely you wonder why I know this, right? Well, it's simple. After all, I am the director of this school, and I must know the life of my students, right? Another voice surprised the duo. What do you mean, White Mickey Mouse is the director of UA? Kurama said, confused. White Mickey Mouse? Izuku asked, surprised in his head by his friend's rudeness. Well, enough talk, you're seeing this for the results. Well, in the written test, you had almost all correct except for 2, and in the practical test, you scored 63 points. Adding it all up, you have a score of 73 points. So congratulations, Mr. Midoriya, you have passed, the rat said, cheering Izuku up. I did it, Izuku said, crying, alarming Kurama. You're going to flood everything. Stop crying, Kurama shouted. But that's not all, the rat said, surprising Izuku and Kurama. Young Izuku. This test had something hidden. Did you really think we would spend more than $20 million on a simple obstacle? No, sir. There were extra points that define the quality of a hero, rescue points. These were based, as their name suggests, on the rescue of candidates. When you risked yourself to save young Ochako, you earned an extra 40 points. I think they deducted some for the landing, huh? So you, Izuku Midoriya, got the second place in the practical test. Congratulations, and I hope to see you soon. Then the hologram turned off. Izuku and Kurama were shocked, but Izuku was frustrated, and Kurama achieved that. Kid. Are you okay? Kurama said, somewhat worried. I don't deserve that second place, Izuku said, disappointed. Ha, what are you saying? Kurama said, surprised. You did everything to save Uraka. I just got her out of there, Izuku said, disappointed. But doesn't that count as a rescue? Kurama said, annoyed. I know, but, Izuku said before being interrupted by Kurama. No buts, oh my god, you must stop being so hard on yourself. One of these days, someone's going to die because of you if you keep this up, Kurama said, annoyed. Izuku couldn't sleep last night, he kept thinking about the exam results. He still believed he couldn't have gotten second place without Kurama, he wanted to be recognized for who he is, not what he has. He pondered for 2 hours until he fell asleep. The next day. Hey, shorty, Kurama shouted angrily, pushing Izuku around. What do you want, Kurama? Do you know what time it is? Izuku said, rubbing his eyes. Yes, I do. It's 8 o'clock, Kurama yelled, startling Izuku. What? And what time do classes start? Izuku exclaimed, jumping up. At 8:30, you have 30 minutes. Kurama warned, scaring Izuku even more. Where's my uniform? Izuku said, alarmed. There. The old lady left it there a while ago. Kurama pointed to a corner. Izuku ran to his uniform, then hid in a corner and changed. When he came out, Kurama entered Izuku's mind space, and they left without breakfast. Oh my goodness. I hope I make it on time, Izuku said as he ran with all his might. The darn school is 15 minutes away. Don't worry so much, Kurama said, trying to calm Izuku down. All right, we're good, Izuku said, starting to walk with his hands on his head. But don't relax too much. Run, Kurama scolded, making Izuku start jogging. After arriving in about 13 minutes at Izuku's speed, they reached UA's entrance. Izuku didn't expect the school to be so big, while Kurama didn't see the problem. Oh my god. This school is huge, Izuku said, very surprised and somewhat worried. Well, what did you expect? After all, many kids practice to become heroes. Besides, I don't see the problem. Just find your classroom. It was class 1A, right? Kurama said, starting to feel sleepy. Well, the problem is that it's going to be complicated to find my classroom. After all, there are like 100 doors in there, Izuku said, entering UA. Just create some clones to help you find it, Kurama suggested. That could work. But you have to remember it's private property. Using my power, even if it's chakra, is illegal. I'd be a criminal if I did that, Izuku said, walking through the hallways. Well, they wouldn't notice, Kurama said, implying that Izuku should go along with his idea. No, it's bad, Kurama, Izuku said, somewhat annoyed. Friend, you escaped from an orphanage. I think that's worse, Kurama said, reminding Izuku of his escape, which was indeed illegal. That was different. Besides, this is riskier. I'm not going to do it. I'll find my classroom on my own, Izuku said before being interrupted by Kurama. Well, you're already here. Look, Kurama said, making Izuku look to his left. Indeed, it said 1A. Wow. That was easier than I expected, Izuku said, opening the door to his classroom. When Izuku arrived, he saw the boy with glasses arguing with someone he found familiar, but he didn't pay attention. All he cared about was that he ended up with that annoying guy from before. Get your feet off that table. The boy shouted at someone who looked like an aggressive dog. Eh? Are you scolding me? Me, the next number one hero? The other guy said arrogantly. He the next number one hero? Nobody knows that, don't boast about yourself. The boy with glasses said before realizing Izuku was at the door. Darn it, Kurama already saw me. Izuku thought, asking the fox for help. I don't know, just play along. Besides, it's not so bad, he led you to the nurse's office first. So, thank him first, Kurama said, then fell asleep. Good morning. My name is Tenya Ida. You probably remember me from the test. I apologize so much for my rudeness earlier, the boy named Ida said, bowing. He's so serious. Izuku thought, feeling a bit embarrassed. No worries, it's fine. I wasn't behaving any better anyway, so I'm sorry too, Izuku said with a small smile. Well. In that case, I believe we should start on the right foot, Ida said, shaking Izuku's hand. Sure. By the way, I'm Izuku Midoriya, nice to meet you, Izuku said, also shaking Ida's hand. When the blonde boy heard that name, he tensed up quickly, looking at the green-haired boy with great speed, and there was no doubt. It seemed the two knew each other. Deku, is that you, you damn nerd? The ash-blonde-haired boy said angrily to Izuku. Deku? Wait, I know that nickname, don't tell me you're? Izuku said, very surprised. Izuku looked at the boy who had shouted at him, saw that face, and there was no doubt. It was the one who had made his life impossible for a week, Katsuki Bakugo. Keikachan? Izuku said surprised. How the hell did you get in here, idiot? Don't you see that this school is for the elite of the elite? The one called Kachan said, making explosions with his hands. Well, with my own animal effort. Did you intimidate the principal to let you in? Izuku shouted angrily at Katsuki. What did you say, imbecile? I'll kill you, idiot, Katsuki said, launching himself at Izuku. Come at me, I'll show you that I'll return the blow multiplied by 1,000, Izuku said, taking a shadowboxing stance. "Hey, Midoriya, is that you?" A feminine voice said behind Izuku, as everyone knew, it was Uraka. "Uraka? Hi, how are you?" Izuku said, forgetting about Katsuki, causing his face to explode and him to go flying. "Midoriya." Ida and Uraka said at the same time. Izuku was embedded in a wall, his head was on the other side of the school wall. After that, Katsuki left angrily to his seat, leaving Uraka and Ida trying to get Izuku out of the wall. 2 minutes later. Izuku had already come out of the wall, his head was a little open but it was regenerating. Uraka was checking on Izuku while Ida was scolding Katsuki who was ignoring him. "Midoriya? Are you okay?" Uraka said, worried about her friend. "Why yeah, it was just a little bump, not a big deal, hee," Izuku said, trying to calm the girl. "What do you mean little bump? Damn Deku, I'll kill you," Katsuki said, launching himself at Izuku again, being held back by Ida. Uraka instinctively hugged Midoriya, causing him to blush and almost faint. He had lived with women all his life, but he had never had a hug from them, so he felt a little embarrassed. "Well. What a stress, my first day and I already have problem students." "Great," a man encased in a sleeping bag said ironically, he seemed to have drunk a whole barrel of alcohol. "Well. Look, it's a hero with the power of a caterpillar. I wonder what his name is. I'd call him Caterpillar Man, seems original," Izuku said before receiving a kick from the man, making him slump against the wall unconscious. "I also have the class clown, huh?" Caterpillar Man said, annoyed by what seemed like a joke from Izuku. "Midoriya?" Uraka and Ida said at the same time again. After Izuku woke up, Uraka and Ida took him to his seat and left him there. After that the man stood in front of the whole class silently. By the way, everyone was surprised and scared of the man and Katsuki for what they had done to Izuku. "Alright. Let's start again. I'm Shota Aizawa, and I'll be your teacher for as long as you'll be at UA, said the so-called Aizawa, surprising everyone and scaring Izuku a little. "Now. Everyone put on your sports uniforms, we'll go outside to do some tests." Aizawa hurried everyone to leave his class. When everyone was outside, Aizawa lined them up in a straight line. After a moment of silence, Uraka spoke up. Sir. Aren't we having a welcome ceremony?" Uraka said, a little nervous. "Of course not. UA doesn't have time for such foolishness. Now, let the number 1 in the practical exam come. Let me remember." "Oh, yeah, Katsuki Bakugo," Aizawa said, surprising everyone but Izuku more, and it also angered him a little. "Well. What you have to do is throw this ball as far as you can. You can also use your quirk and you can do whatever you want. But don't step out of the circle," Aizawa said, making Bakugo stay silent with a furrowed brow, then walk to the circle Aizawa mentioned. "Alright, I'll concentrate all my power in the palm of my hand. Watch this, stupid Deku," Bakugo said in his mind, smiling at Izuku. "Die," Bakugo yelled, throwing the ball with all his strength. "Die?" Izuku and Kurama said, a bit surprised. "All you have to do in this test is know your limits. After that, we'll start classes," Aizawa said, showing a scoreboard that read 705.2. "Wow, 705.2 meters. That's quite something," a blonde-haired boy with a lightning bolt mark in his hair said, quite surprised. "That's what I mean, use our powers as much as we want," a boy with shoulder tape-shaped arms said. "I want to be next, it looks fun," a pink-haired girl said, excited for her turn. "So much for fun, huh? You have 3 years to become heroes. I guess it's all games and fun. Idiots, today you'll compete in 4 tests. The one who ends up last will be expelled," Aizawa said, surprising and frightening several. "Eh?" Everyone said at the same time except Katsuki and a guy with two-tone hair, red and white. Wait, that's not fair. It's barely our first day. And even if it wasn't, it would still be more than unfair, Uraka said, trying to get Aizawa to change his mind. "So, do you think natural disasters are fair, or maybe a villain, huh? Nothing in this harsh life is fair, and you should be ready to face life head-on. Now, you'll do the test or leave now," Aizawa said, making everyone nervous. The tension in the air was indescribable. This was a war between everyone. No matter how close they were, they couldn't afford to be last, not now. Izuku was nervous but determined to pass, a darn junkie wouldn't stop him from his dream. "Kid, if you lose, I'll eat everything for a week, okay?" Kurama threatened the green-haired boy. "Well, you better start starving, Kurama," Because I won't lose, Izuku said with excitement in his soul. First test, 50-meter race. The test would begin with a race. The first one would be Ida against a girl with a frog-like appearance. Izuku recognized her immediately but didn't pay her any attention. When they started, Ida finished in 3.45 seconds, while the frog-like girl finished in 5.34 seconds. For the sake of time, everything happened as in the anime, except for the Midoriya vs Bakugo test, which I'll recount now. It was Izuku's turn, and by some twist of fate, he was paired with Katsuki. The two looked at each other defiantly before focusing on the race. I'm going to beat you, idiot, Katsuki thought with a terrifying smile. I swear I'll defeat this guy, Izuku thought with a serious look. Begin, a robot said, tallying the scores. At the moment they started, Katsuki shot off thinking he was going to win. Before he knew it, he saw Izuku flying at full speed. This surprised Katsuki, and he looked back and saw 3 clones of Izuku in a launching position. What the heck? I thought he didn't have a quirk? Katsuki thought, surprised. Izuku Midoriya, 4.67 seconds, a robot said, making Katsuki return to the race and cross the finish line. Katsuki Bakugo, 6.32 seconds, the robot said, angering Katsuki and exciting Izuku. I won, Izuku said, raising his fist. Darn it, Katsuki said, frustrated by his defeat. Second test, grip strength. Alright, Izuku, you just have to concentrate a bit of chakra in your left hand, all good, Izuku said to himself. Izuku managed to concentrate some chakra, but even so, he only improved his result by 2%, scoring 60.0 for strength. This frustrated Izuku a bit. Wow, you got 500 kilograms. You're a beast. The guy with the tape arms, Hantasero, said. Yeah, like a gorilla inside your body. A small guy, Minoru Mineta, said. Third test, long jump. Izuku used a shadow clone to propel himself in the air, barely completing the long jump. This relieved Izuku a lot since he thought he wouldn't make it. Meanwhile, Kurama was sleeping. Fourth test, lateral jumps. Izuku had no other idea than to have the clones hit him in the face while he moved from side to side. Aizawa thought it was another joke from Izuku and lowered his score a bit. Meanwhile, several people laughed. Fourth test, ball throw. Here the same would happen as in the anime, from Uraka's score and all that. It was Izuku's turn, and he was nervous because he had no idea what to do. The clones only served for attack, not for propulsion, and it was likely that if he failed this test, he would be kicked out. The only thing that occurred to him was to overload his hand with chakra. Alright, Mr. Aizawa, I'm ready. Pass me the ball, Izuku said, determined but inwardly scared. Confidence, huh? I hope you have the same power to pass, Aizawa said, tired of Izuku already. Aizawa passed the ball to Izuku, and he stood in the circle, asking Kurama to concentrate 75% of his power in his entire arm. Alright, here we go, Kurama. Izuku thought, prepared for the overload. Alright, shorty, Kurama said with a small smile. After that, Izuku started the overload, and Aizawa realized that Izuku's arm had changed. He thought he would do the same in the test, so he used his quirk to deactivate it, but when he tried, he could only see a giant fox looking at him threateningly. This made Aizawa feel something he hadn't felt in a long time, a tremendous fear. But what? Aizawa thought, frightened. Izuku threw the ball, which shot off at an impressive speed. Everyone was surprised and silent. Even Uraka and Ida, who knew about Izuku's hidden power, were impressed. Aizawa was impressed, looking at the scoreboard. The score kept rising until it reached 1,111.0 meters. After this, Izuku looked at everyone with his arm exhausted. There you go, teacher. I was prepared, Izuku said with a painful smile. Aizawa was still surprised and scared by what had just happened. A kid almost surpassed All Might's record of 120.3 meters. After the shock wore off, Aizawa looked at Izuku seriously. He knew he had talent, but this was too much. Still, he realized his arm was shattered, so he wasn't a god or anything. What? Did he make 110 kilometers? Someone in the audience exclaimed, but really, everyone was stunned by Izuku's strength, especially Katsuki. He's finally showing his true power, Uraka exclaimed excitedly. But his whole arm is smashed. I wonder if that will tarnish UA's reputation. Ida pondered, somewhat worried about his friend. It's far from elegant. The same French guy from the entrance exam, Yuga Aoyama, commented. People were talking about Izuku's incredible power, but Katsuki was shocked. All his life, he thought that so-called deku didn't even have a quirk, and now this? It was outrageous. But what the hell? First the clones, and now this. Wasn't he supposed to not have a quirk? Katsuki thought angrily about everyone around him. Damn deku, Bakugo said aloud, grabbing everyone's attention. You weren't supposed to have a quirk. Now tell me what kind of ritual you did, he threatened Izuku, making him tense up. Darn it, without an arm, I won't be able to make the clones. What do I do, Kurama? Izuku worried that his head would end up on the ground. Before Bakugo could get closer to Izuku, bandages stopped him. Everyone saw it was Professor Aizawa. But why can't I break this rope? Katsuki said, surprised, angry, and confused all at once. It's because they're made of a strong material called carbon fiber. Now don't make me use my quirk, it would be a hassle, Aizawa said threateningly to Katsuki with his red eyes. Wait a moment. Those eyes. You're the hero Eraserhead, right? Izuku said, surprising and confusing everyone. Eraserhead? Who's that? Someone in the audience named Sato asked. I see you're informed, kid. And yes, it's me. Any problem? Aizawa said in a scary voice, startling Izuku and Kurama a bit. And no sir, Izuku said, bowing at the end. Alright. I won't let you harm a student just like that. Plus, I need to know what that thing was, Aizawa thought, remembering the giant fox from before. After that, Aizawa let go of Katsuki, allowing Izuku to rejoin the group. After that moment, everyone was scared by the test results. Mineta couldn't help but think that the only thing he did well was the lateral jumps, while a girl named Toru Hagakure was in the same situation, only she did well in 2 and poorly in all the others. Pay attention, everyone, Aizawa said, making everyone look at him in fear. Here are the results. Remember, the last one will be expelled from school and won't be able to come back, Aizawa said, making everyone tense up even more. After that talk, Aizawa turned on an electronic board where the results were displayed. After everyone found their names, some felt relieved, and one felt scared. The results were: 1. Momo Yaoyorozu. 2. Shoto Todoroki. 3. Katsuki Bakugo. 4. Tenya Ida. 5. Fumikage Tokoyami. 6. Izuku Midoriya. 7. Mezzo Shoji. 8. Mashirao Ojiro. 9. Eijiro Kirishima. 10. Mina Ashito. 11. Ochako Uraka. 12. Koji Koda. 13. Rikido Sato. 14. Tsuyu Asui. 15. Yuga Aoyama. 16. Hantasero. 17. Denki Kaminari. 18. Kyoka Jiro. 19. Toru Hagakure. 20. Minoru Mineta. After that, Izuku started teasing Kurama, while Mineta started crying in a corner away from everyone. See? I won, you hypocrite. Izuku thought, making Kurama angry. Yeah, I know, I'm not blind, Kurama yelled in Izuku's mental space. Oh, by the way. The expulsion thing was a lie, Aizawa said with a small smile. What? Everyone shouted, making some feel cheated and a certain dwarf cried tears of joy. It was a lie so you would give it your all. You can leave now, by the way, Aizawa said, leaving everyone surprised and with their jaws on the floor. Well, that was a surprise. Right, Kurama? Izuku said quietly, calling to his friend. Why yeah. But that means nobody won, Kurama said with clear surprise in his voice. I guess you're right, Izuku said, watching as Aizawa slowly left. The classes after the test were normal: history, English, mathematics, all of those. After the day, Izuku went tiredly home. Ah, what a day. First Kachan. Then the test, and now math class, Izuku said, tired of that whole day. But you should pay more attention to your studies. You not only need to improve your strength but also your mind, Kurama said in a teacher-like manner. I suppose you're right, Izuku said quietly before being stopped by an arm. Izuku turned around to see his new friend, Ida, behind him. It seemed like he wanted to walk home with him. Oh, Ida, I didn't see you. How are you? Izuku said with a smile. I'm fine, Midoriya. We better hurry home, Ida said, starting to walk. Of course, you're right, friend, Izuku said, following Ida. Ida and Izuku started talking about trivial things, about school and all that. Actually, Professor Aizawa tricked us pretty badly, don't you think, Midoriya? Ida asked, somewhat angry with his teacher. Why yeah, I fell into his trap, hee hee, Izuku said nervously about his friend's discipline. Hey, you two, wait for me. A female voice said, making the two boys turn around. Oh, it's Uraka. Hi, Izuku said, waving with his left hand. Hi, Midoriya, and hi to you too, Uraka said, a bit embarrassed for not knowing Ida's name. I'm Tenya Ida, nice to meet you, Uraka, Ida said, gesturing like a robot. Likewise. I think you already know Deku, Midoriya, right? Uraka said, confusing Ida and tensing Izuku. Deku? Izuku said, surprised and a bit offended. Sure. The explosive guy called you that, isn't that your name? Uraka asked, confused. Well, it's Midoriya Izuku. Besides, I think I told you during the test when we met, right? Izuku said, thinking Uraka remembered his name. Oh, right. Sorry, I didn't remember, hee hee, Uraka said, making Izuku and Ida fall backward. Well, why did that guy call you that, Midoriya? Ida asked Izuku, confused. Well, it's a nickname he gave me since we were little, it means useless, Izuku said, feeling a bit down. Oh, I see. A tease, Ida said, thoughtfully. Oh, sorry, I didn't know that, I'm sorry, Uraka said, embarrassed for calling Izuku that. It's okay. It doesn't really bother me anyway, Izuku said, trying to calm Uraka. But you know, I like Deku. I feel like it sounds like the Japanese word you can do it, plus it sounds a bit cute, Uraka said with a big smile, motivating Izuku. You can do it. I like it. Now I'm Deku, Izuku said aloud, surprising Ida and Uraka. Eh? Midoriya, aren't you accepting that too quickly? Ida said, shocked by Izuku's sudden change. As I told you, Ida, it doesn't bother me, besides, I think a change wouldn't hurt, Izuku said, starting to walk with Ida and Uraka by his side. Well, this day didn't go as expected, but at least I have some friends. Don't you think, Kurama? Izuku said in his mind with a smile. It seems so, kid, it seems so, Kurama said, remembering a blonde guy and his first two friends. The next day, Izuku had moved from an alley to a corner near an abandoned store near UA. It was 5 minutes away, so he could wake up a little later and change and have breakfast on time. When Izuku woke up, there were about 40 minutes left before classes started, so he quickly changed and went without breakfast again. After all, he didn't have any food. Damn it, Kurama. This is the second time I haven't had breakfast. I'm starving, Izuku said aloud since there was no one on the streets. Well, yeah. The other place was better, but no. Someone wanted to improve his studies and forgot about his friends and his own food, Kurama said, referring to Izuku. Oh, come on. You were the one who said I should improve my studies, Izuku said, more than offended by his friend. Was it me who decided to move to a worse place? No, it wasn't. Kurama said angrily at Izuku, they really slept cold yesterday. Fine, fine. Tomorrow I'll look for a better place, Izuku said, defeated by the fox. When Izuku arrived at UA, nobody had arrived yet. Well, there were still 35 minutes left, so it was logical. When he entered the classroom, he chatted with Kurama about a new possibility for a home. They kept talking until someone called Izuku. PSST, an old lady's voice said outside the classroom. Recovery girl, Izuku said, looking outside the door. Yes, it's me. Come here for a moment, recovery girl said, gesturing for Izuku to follow her. Oh okay, Izuku said, getting up from his seat and following recovery girl. Follow me, the old lady said, starting to walk towards the infirmary. Izuku spent 2 whole minutes in silence until he reached a small door. Recovery girl opened it and asked him to come in, which Izuku did a little nervously. What did you want to talk about, recovery girl? Izuku said, somewhat confused. First of all, hello. Secondly, if you want, you can bring Kurama out, recovery girl said, making Izuku happy. Alright. Kurama, you can come out, Izuku said, making Kurama appear in the infirmary beside Izuku. What did you want to talk about, ma'am? Kurama asked politely, surprising Izuku. Very well. What I wanted to talk to you two about is a housing proposal. Recovery girl said, surprising the duo. Really? Izuku said happily. Yup, I can invite you to my place, Recovery Girl said, making both of them feel scared. We'd prefer to stay without the need for an active sex life. Thanks, Kurama said, scared. I didn't mean that, you pervs. I meant you could live with me, Recovery Girl said, relieving both of them. That's great, where is your house? Izuku asked, curious. About 10 minutes from here, Recovery Girl said, delighting Izuku. Okay, we accept, Izuku said, surprising Kurama. Who said we accept? I'd rather sleep outside than in a house. I'd feel trapped again, Kurama said, surprising Izuku. Kurama, I've prepared a separate room for you with a big bed. Recovery Girl said with a smile. Where's the house? I'm going now, Kurama said, surprising and offending Izuku. Hey! What's wrong with sleeping with me? Izuku said, annoyed with the fox. Please. You snore like a bull in a parking lot, Kurama said, angering Izuku. What? How dare you, Izuku said, offended by Kurama. You heard me, Kurama said with a challenging smile. Flea-ridden furball, Izuku shouted, angering Kurama. Bush with legs, Kurama said, angry with Izuku. Recovery Girl watched this situation with a smile, then she chuckled a bit, catching Izuku and Kurama's attention. What's up, Recovery Girl? Izuku said, confused by the old lady's strange behavior. Oh, nothing. I just thought you two seemed like siblings, Recovery Girl said, making both of them blush. That's not true. They both said at the same time, embarrassed. Yeah. Now go to class, you're late, Recovery Girl said, alarming Izuku. What? Izuku said, scared, looking at the clock in the infirmary. It was 8:45. Crap, he said, grabbing his backpack. Kurama, enter the mental space now, Izuku said, making Kurama disappear and then opening the door. Goodbye, Recovery Girl, Izuku said, bidding farewell to the old lady. Goodbye, kid, oh, youth, Recovery Girl said, starting to work. Meanwhile, in the classroom. Hey, Ida. Have you seen Deku? Uraka said, confusing Ida. Deku who? Oh, Midoriya, Ida said, remembering yesterday's conversation. Yeah, have you seen him? Uraka asked, somewhat worried. No, I haven't seen him. Now that you mention it, where is he? Class starts in 2 minutes, Ida said, worrying. Yeah, Aizawa squashed him against a wall for making a comment. What will he do if he's late? Uraka said, imagining possible situations, and none of them were good enough. Don't worry. Maybe Aizawa will be late and nothing will happen, he said before being interrupted by a tired voice. Hello students. Take your seats please, Aizawa said, bored, making Ida and Uraka tense. Alright, in today's class. And Midoriya? Aizawa said seriously, making everyone look at Midoriya's empty seat. And Midoriya? I said. Aizawa said, looking at Ida and Uraka. Well, we don't know, Ida said, scared for his friend's well-being. Well. I think I can forgive 2 minutes late, Aizawa said calmly. 15 minutes later. I'm here, Izuku said, bursting through the door. Why are you all looking at me? Izuku said, confused by his classmates' horrified looks. Deku is behind you, Uraka said, sweating profusely, making Izuku look confused. So, 15 minutes late, huh? Midoriya, Aizawa said with a threatening aura. Wait, sir, there's an explanation, Izuku shouted, confused and scared by his teacher's appearance. Oh yeah, and what is it? Aizawa said, about to kill him. Well, Izuku, just tell him you were with Recovery Girl, it's not that hard, right? Izuku thought, trying to calm down. I got lost on the path of life, Izuku said, then retracted his words. Aizawa remained silent for about 2 minutes until he looked at Izuku with his quirk activated. After that, all they could see was Izuku rushing out of the window with all his might, crashing into a tree. And don't come back until you've run 10 full laps around UA, Aizawa shouted angrily while the whole classroom was worried and scared for their classmate. Why yes, sir, Izuku said, with a broken nose and a missing tooth. 10 laps later. That idiot. At least let me listen to music, Izuku said, physically exhausted and fed up with his teacher. When Izuku returned to the classroom, he saw that everyone was gone, which confused him until he saw his seat. There was a suitcase with a note that read Midoriya, if you see this, it means you've finished the 10 laps. Here's your hero costume and the location of where your group is. P.S. Idiot, Aizawa loves you. The last part made Izuku angry but excited about his costume. Wow, it seems your costume is here, Kurama said, surprising Izuku. Kurama? Are you awake already? Izuku said happily. Yes, I am. Now put on that thing, I want to see you in that costume, Kurama said, excited about the result. Meanwhile, in Class 1A. Everyone was ready with their hero costumes outside in a training field. Everyone was excited about their hero costumes. Meanwhile, everyone was waiting for Midoriya. Ida, you look great, Uraka said, praising her friend who looked like a robot. Yours looks pretty good too, Uraka, you look like an astronaut, Ida said, approving of his friend's costume. Excuse me, a female voice said, catching Ida and Uraka's attention. Oh, hi, you're Tsuyu Asui, right? Nice to meet you, Uraka said, greeting the green-haired girl whom Izuku helped during the test. Yes, it's me. Could you give this to Midoriya? Thank you very much, Asui said, handing them a note, surprising the duo of friends. Of course, Ida said, feeling a bit uncomfortable. Thank you, see you later, the green-haired girl said before hopping away. What could it be? A love confession? Uraka said, surprised by Tsuyu's request. But we just started the school year. This is impossible? Ida said, slowly opening the letter. What was inside confused them even more. It said, thanks for the test. This made the duo look at each other in confusion. For the test? Did Deku save more people? Uraka asked, confused by the contents of the letter. Most likely, Ida said, lost in thought. Sorry for being late, I'm here now, Izuku said, making everyone look towards him. Izuku's costume was basic, resembling a fox. The only difference was that it didn't have a tail, but it looked cool. Wow, Deku, you look great, Uraka said, making Izuku look at her. Uraka? Izuku said, surprised, looking at his friend's costume. Mine was a bit tight, hee, Uraka said, a bit embarrassed. Yeah, that could be a problem. You should ask support for help to adjust it, Izuku said seriously, then walked away from his friend. Huh? He seems quite serious. Did something happen? Uraka thought, a little worried. Meanwhile, with Izuku. Darn it, Izuku said, his face red even though it wasn't visible due to the mask. She looked pretty. Damn it, Kurama, did you really have to enhance my vision? Izuku said, embarrassed and ashamed of how he saw Uraka. Well, of course, my power enhances all your senses. Sight is necessary, you know, Kurama said, flirtatious with Izuku. Oh my god. Why did I agree, Izuku said, regretting having agreed to something with Kurama. 10 minutes earlier. Huh? Why does that costume look like mine? Kurama said, surprised by Izuku's costume. Don't you like it? I asked support if they could make a costume with your appearance, of course without mentioning your existence. I thought it was fair after all you've done for me, Kurama, Izuku explained with a smile, surprising Kurama. Kid, Kurama said, feeling flattered and happy. Well, it's time to change, Izuku said, heading to the changing rooms. Kid, wait, Kurama said, making Izuku stop in his tracks. What's wrong, Kurama? Izuku said, puzzled by Kurama's attitude. I'm going to give you a part of my power, to make it fit better with that costume, Kurama said, somewhat embarrassed. Huh? But, Kurama, that's not nechesh, Izuku said before being interrupted by Kurama. No buts, it's a proposal, and you're going to accept it whether you like it or not, Kurama said, trying to defend his honor. Well then, Izuku said, defeated, continuing on his way. Back to the present. I really shouldn't have agreed, Izuku said before bumping into someone. Oh, I'm so sorry, Izuku said before seeing Tsuyu on the ground. Oh, sorry, Tsuyu, are you okay? Izuku said, helping her up. Midoriya? Is that you? Tsuyu said, recognizing Izuku's voice and getting up. Yeah, it's me, Izuku said, feeling a pang in his chest. Oh, I see. Hey, did you read my letter? Tsuyu said, looking Izuku directly in the eyes. Huh? Izuku said, confused, making Tsuyu surprised. They haven't delivered it to you, Tsuyu said, sounding a bit sad. I'm sorry, Asui, Izuku said, feeling a little guilty. What did the note say? Izuku asked, surprising the girl. It said, thanks for the help. Tsuyu said, feeling a bit embarrassed. For the help? Izuku remembered how he helped her with a robot. Yeah. I wanted to thank you ever since I saw you, but Aizawa wouldn't let me, Tsuyu said, returning to her calm demeanor. He wouldn't let you? Izuku asked, surprised and a bit angry. No, but he did throw you into a tree, Tsuyu said casually, reminding Izuku of what happened, while Kurama chuckled. Oh yeah. Well, you're welcome, Izuku said cheerfully. Well, Midoriya, see you later, Tsuyu said with a small smile before hopping away. Well, that was something between good and weird, Izuku said nervously. You know, I think that girl doesn't think twice about what she says, Kurama said, looking surprised. Maybe. You're right, Izuku said, mirroring Kurama's expression. Oh young Midoriya, you're here already, said a middle-aged man's voice. That voice, Izuku said, turning abruptly. It seems you've recognized me, young Midoriya. It's me, All Might, he said, striking a somewhat strange pose. Oh. Hi, Izuku said, staring at All Might. Well. Shall we begin? All Might said, a little nervous under Izuku's gaze. This response angered Izuku, he expected an apology or at least a how are you. But this man only cared about the class, if he had any admiration for him, it was gone with those words. He no longer admired him, but he still respected him. When the whole class lined up in front of All Might, he started the class. But look at you all in those costumes. All Might exclaimed, trying to sound excited, but actually they were his first models, so he didn't really care. Sir, is this the city of the entrance exam? Are we going to fight robots again? Ida asked, his voice elegant with his arm raised. Not exactly, young man. Usually, confrontations between heroes and villains take place in open and public places. However, don't expect to find a villain around your corner, they usually hide in abandoned places or in groups. That's why we'll do a training exercise with 2 groups, one composed of 2 heroes and the other of 2 villains, in a 5-story building, All Might explained, causing more hands to go up. Sir, isn't this a bit advanced? Tsuyu asked, making All Might a bit nervous. No. The best training comes from the battlefield, but remember, this time you won't be fighting robots but people, so be careful, All Might said, raising his fist. Sir, will you be the one deciding the victories? Momo Yaoyorozu suddenly asked. How much damage can we do to the opponent? Bakugo asked, with a slightly sadistic smile. Do we have to worry about being expelled like in Aizawa's test? Uraka asked, a little nervous. Will the teams be divided by strength or experience? Ida asked, with a robotic movement. Isn't this cape cool? Aoyama exclaimed, showing off his suit. I haven't finished yet, a frustrated and nervous All Might said. Anyway. All Might said, winking surprisingly at Izuku. The villains have hidden a biological bomb inside the building. The hero's job will be to find and neutralize that bomb. If they fail, they can catch the villains, which would also be a victory. The villains can win if the heroes run out of time or if they manage to catch both heroes. Is that clear? All Might said loudly. Yes, sir. Everyone except Bakugo, Todoroki, and Midoriya, who said it quietly, responded. Very well, we'll choose the teams randomly. We'll do this with pieces of paper with your names, All Might said, surprising everyone. Sir, isn't there a better way? Ida asked, thinking that method was basic. Think about it, heroes are often helped by other heroes from different agencies. So if we choose this way, it would be almost the same as in real life, Izuku said, raising his finger and smiling, although the mask didn't let it show. Oh, I see. I apologize for my rudeness, sir, Ida said, bowing. Don't worry, let's go for it. All Might said, raising his fist. The teams were. Team A, Uraka with Izuku. Team B, Shoji with Todoroki. Team C, Mineta with Yaoyorozu. Team D, Bakugo with Ida. Team E, Mina with Aoyama. Team F, Sato with Kota. Team G, Kaminari with Jiro. Team H, Tokoyami with Tsuyu. Team I, Ojiro with Hagakure. Team J, Sero with Kirishima. Wow, look at the possibilities, just one team, Uraka exclaimed, excited. Yeah, I think destiny wants us together, Izuku said, making Uraka blush. Why you mean, Uraka said, embarrassed. I don't know what you mean, Izuku said before realizing what he said. And no, I didn't mean that, I meant the team trial, Izuku said, blushing. Oh, I see, Uraka said, calming down. She didn't really think her friend liked her. Okay, and the first match will be these guys. All Might said, pulling out 2 balls with the letters of each team. Team A and Team D, he said, making 2 boys look at each other challengingly. We'll go to the monitoring room to observe the match. Everyone, come with me, he said, leaving the 2 teams alone. Yes, sir. The other team said. Villains, you can enter the building and find the bomb. Remember, the key to your victory is to think like a villain, All Might said with his classic smile. Yes, sir, Ida said before entering, while Bakugo glared angrily at Izuku. Meanwhile, with the villains group. So, this is the weapon we have to protect. Fake, of course, Ida said, hitting a model of what looked like a bomb. Hey! Do you really think Deku has a power? Katsuki asked angrily, grabbing Ida's attention. You saw how he threw that ball. And he also has those clones. Ida tried to figure out what kind of quirk Izuku had. Darn it, that useless guy fooled me to look weak. He'll regret it for the rest of his life for doing that. Katsuki thought, more than angry with the green-haired boy. Meanwhile, with the heroes group. Wow! This map is pretty big, Izuku said, a little nervous. What's wrong, Deku? You seem nervous, Uraka said, a little interested in what was bothering her friend. Well, we're fighting Bakugo and Ida, and we don't have many things in our favor, Izuku said, a little thoughtful. So, are you scared? Uraka said, a little serious. Don't get that idea, Izuku said, looking at Uraka with a furrowed brow. Then, what's wrong? Uraka said, a little nervous. In this test, I can show everyone that I'm capable of fulfilling my dream. Especially to Katsuki, Izuku said, looking at the building with a small smile. After these words, Uraka began to admire her teammate. He really wanted to be a hero more than anything, and that motivated her to improve as well. It seems you're excited, Uraka said with a smile, putting on her helmet. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, Izuku said, activating a fraction of Kurama's power, his eyes turning red like a fox's. Begin. All Might said over the communicator he gave them before the test, causing Uraka and Izuku to run out. Uraka spotted an open window on the right side of the building, so they decided to enter through there. Successful infiltration, Uraka said aloud before starting to walk towards the stairs. Izuku was ahead of Uraka, as his power would be more helpful if there was a surprise attack ahead. Meanwhile, if they were attacked from behind, Uraka's zero gravity would be quite useful to immobilize the attacker. Alright, Kurama, do you have an idea? Izuku asked the fox, looking for a strategy. Actually, I do. That explosion kid is pretty skilled, but if you observe his behavior, he tends to attack without thinking. That would make him predictable, and you just have to dodge and counterattack, Kurama said, hoping Izuku would outsmart Bakugo. He really didn't like him. You're somewhat right, but I still don't know anything about his moves. I should wait a bit before attacking. The good thing is we have Uraka's zero gravity in our chakra. If Bakugo attacks, we could win easily, Izuku said before being scolded by Kurama. Don't be stupid. If both of you fight at the same time, you'll lose when the clock runs out. It's better for you to fight Bakugo alone, so the girl can go for the weapon and neutralize it, Kurama said, with a serious voice. You're right. Thanks, Kurama, Izuku said, grateful for his friend's idea. After the conversation between Izuku and Kurama, Katsuki started running to attack Team A. Izuku was able to detect this thanks to Kurama's power, which enhanced his senses, both smell and hatred. When Katsuki attacked, Izuku managed to dodge without any damage, bringing Uraka with him. What are you doing, Deku? Are you scared? Bakugo said, dispersing the smoke from the explosion. I'm surprised at how predictable you can be. Bakugo, Izuku said, angering Bakugo. Meanwhile, in the monitoring room. That Bakugo attacked by surprise. What a lack of manliness, Kirishima said, angry at Bakugo's action. Normally, that's what a villain would do. So he did something that could have caused great harm, All Might said, looking at the screens in the room. But he didn't, Midoriya dodged it, Mina said, excited about her teammate's ability. Back in the fight. You're so predictable, you worthless brat. I'll kill you, Katsuki said before lunging towards Izuku. Katsuki attempted a direct punch, but Izuku easily dodged it. After that, Izuku hit Katsuki with a hook to the stomach, knocking the wind out of him. How did he do that? He's not that good. Katsuki thought, surprised and frustrated. Listen to me, you piece of garbage, Izuku shouted, looking directly at Bakugo. I'm not the same kid you knew a year ago. That kid has changed and doesn't intend to be the shadow of someone as pathetic as you, got it? Now deku means you can do it, Izuku shouted, surprising Uraka and Bakugo. Piece of garbage, Bakugo said through gritted teeth. If you can't even reach my toes, Bakugo yelled, already furious at Izuku's words. Uraka, get out of here quickly, Izuku said seriously. But deku, Uraka said before being interrupted by Izuku. Just go, if you stay with me, we'll lose. Izuku ordered Uraka, who was surprised. Alright, deku, but be careful, Uraka said before running off. Alright, Katsuki. How about we continue? Izuku said, getting into a ninja fighting pose. Meanwhile, in the room. Sir All Might. I can't hear anything, I can't turn this thing up, Kirishima said, a little frustrated with the fight. It was getting interesting. I'm sorry, young Kirishima. You can only hear through these communicators. I gave one to each of them before the test, All Might said, showing a small blue device in his ear. Also, a capture tape. If they wrap it around the hero or villain's entire body, they'll be penalized for the whole test, All Might said, showing a tiny tape. So, if I'm not mistaken, there's a 15-minute time limit, and the heroes don't know where the bomb is. Right? Mina said, a little nervous. Exactly, young Mina. All Might said with his smile. So clearly, the heroes are at a disadvantage right now, Mina said, worried about being on the heroes' team. You're right, but heroes must face all kinds of situations. No matter how difficult it is, they have the obligation to fight until they win. All Might said, raising his fist, motivating the others. That pose, Ojiro said quietly, being heard by Mineta. You mean Midoriya's pose? What's wrong with it? Mineta said, drawing everyone's attention, even All Might's. Oh, nothing. It's just an old fighting style used by ninjas in their battles, that's all, Ojiro said nervously, being the center of attention. Wow, really? Sato said, surprised by what Ojiro said. So, Midoriya must be an expert in martial arts, Hagakure said, excited about the fight. All Might looked serious. He had recently been told that Izuku was quirkless, and now it turns out he has a power and is an expert in martial arts. All Might began to suspect Izuku a bit. Meanwhile, in the fight. What's with that pose? When did you learn to fight, Deku? Katsuki said, annoyed. Just recently, I think you have a basic fighting style, not Katsuki, Izuku said mockingly. TCH, don't make fun of me, Katsuki shouted before lunging at Izuku. Izuku first dodged Bakugo's attempted attack, then created two shadow clones to distract him a little. He knew that if he fought one-on-one with Katsuki, it could last a long time, and Uraka could be caught by Ida. When Katsuki saw this, he blinked and tried to leap towards the original Izuku, but was stopped by the clones. Alright, he's distracted at least a little, Izuku thought before being interrupted by Kurama. Yes, but it won't last long like this. Remember that the clones have less resistance than you. So don't rely on them, leave clones along the way to distract him a little. Plus, you can make them confuse him and gain even more time, Kurama said, surprising Izuku. Wow, Kurama, you're pretty good at this combat stuff. Izuku praised his friend. Well, of course, I've lived long enough to create useful strategies for all kinds of enemies. Besides, it's not the first time one of my hosts has fought someone like him, Kurama said, a little proud. Hee, well, that makes sense, Izuku said before following Kurama's strategy. Bakugo had already dealt with Izuku's two clones. Then he headed towards him, but before he could do anything, he was attacked by another Izuku clone, which he responded to with a direct attack, making it disappear. Darn it. Another clone, Bakugo said before being attacked by another clone, which did manage to do some damage, but still he destroyed it. Damn it. Did that piece of crap leave clones all along the way? Bakugo yelled angrily, rushing through the building. Meanwhile, Izuku was climbing the stairs to meet Uraka, but he didn't know where she was, and for some strange reason, she wasn't answering the communicator. Darn it, Uraka. Where are you? Izuku said, a little worried about his friend. Meanwhile, with Uraka. She had already located the bomb and saw Ida guarding it with great discipline and organization. Alright, I have to inform Deku about this, Uraka said, trying to communicate but couldn't. Darn it, why isn't it working? Uraka said quietly so Ida wouldn't hear her. Uraka took the communicator out of her ear, and after checking it, she saw that the microphone and earpiece were broken, which surprised her. Why is it broken? Uraka said before remembering Bakugo's surprise attack. It must have been at that moment. Darn it, Uraka said frustrated, throwing the communicator to the ground, inadvertently heard by Ida. Who's there? Know that I won't let anyone touch the weapon, Ida said in a villainous voice, making Uraka tense up. Darn it. He heard me, Uraka said, coming out of her hiding spot. Oh, Uraka, it's you. Just so you know, I've removed everything you could use with your power from this room. You'll never win, Ida said with a villainous smile at the end of his evil plan. So serious, Uraka said, trying not to laugh. Meanwhile, with Izuku. He was trying to find Uraka in every room on every floor, but had no luck. He was already frustrated, thinking she had been captured and he would have to face Ida and Bakugo alone. Darn it, if they really captured her, we've already lost, Izuku said, tense about the possible outcome. And why do you think they captured her? Kurama said in a serious tone. Well, Izuku said before being interrupted by Kurama. Don't tell me it's because she's not responding. She's your partner in this test. You should trust her more, Kurama said, making Izuku feel bad about himself. You're right, Kurama. I'll trust Uraka as much as I can, Izuku said aloud without realizing it, letting Bakugo know his location. Well, we better go find her and, Izuku said before being interrupted by an explosion. Go where? Deku, Bakugo said with a villainous smile. What the heck? How did you find me? Izuku said, before being scolded by Kurama. Idiot, you shouldn't speak out loud at a time like this, Kurama scolded, making Izuku realize his mistake. Darn it. I've ruined everything, Izuku said, feeling guilty for his stupid error. Indeed. You want to know what these grenades on my wrists are for? They're to create an explosion 10 or more times stronger than my original attacks, Bakugo said, scaring Izuku. But how? Izuku said, trembling. You know my quirk works with nitroglycerin, right? Now imagine if I could concentrate all my sweat into a single attack. Exactly. These things store my excess sweat and create an attack that's impossible to surpass, Bakugo said with a deranged look. Wait, Katsuki. If he does that, Izuku said, trembling, falling to the ground. Now who's the worthless piece of trash, imbecile? Bakugo shouted, launching his attack. Young Bakugo, wait. All Might said through the communicator, but it was too late. The explosion shook the room where the other groups were, making everyone worry about Izuku's well-being and if he was even alive. What was that? Uraka said nervously, seeing the floor shaking. Must be an earthquake, Ida said before seeing Uraka lunging towards the bomb. Wait, Ida said, moving the bomb out of the way, causing Uraka to collide with the wall. Ow, Uraka said, rubbing her head. I won't let you have it so easily, Ochako, Ida said with the same villainous voice, making Uraka look at him seriously. Now with Izuku. Darn it, good thing I jumped, Izuku said, holding onto a window. Midoriya is alright. All Might said, worried about his student. All Might? Yeah, I'm fine, Izuku said, looking a bit angry. That's good. And where are you? All Might said, relieved to know his student was okay. Hanging from a window, Izuku said, surprising All Might. But what? How did you get there? All Might said, surprised by Izuku's ability. Well, it wasn't that hard, you know. There was a window behind me, so I jumped. The problem is that the explosion threw me far away, and now I'm on the 5th floor window, Izuku said before climbing up to see where he was. But, Izuku said, seeing Uraka and Ida in the room across from him. Lucky me, Izuku said happily before climbing up, but not everything was rosy as Izuku saw that he had a broken leg. Darn it. I guess I'll have to use several clones for now, Izuku said with a smile before creating about 30 clones. Darn it. Where's Deku? Is he okay? Uraka said, a little worried. Now, Ochako. Give up, you're not going to win, Ida said before being interrupted by screams beside him. But what? Ida shouted before seeing 35 Izukus running towards his direction. And those screams? Where's the nerd? Bakugo said before seeing that no one was there. Damn imbecile, Bakugo said before propelling himself upwards with his explosions. When Bakugo arrived, he witnessed with his own eyes how Izuku's clones brought down Ida and Uraka defused the bomb. The winning team is the heroes. All Might said, surprised by the unexpected outcome.